Shout out to Blackjack21 for sending me this story. I'm sorry, Blackjack20, excuse me, for sending me this story right here. Now you see the caption right here, and there's a reason why I screenshotted on this one. It's not just because of the caption of the headline, but it's because it's coming from this person who you see walking in the screen. They said their name is Joey Kim, and they're basically saying that there's the attacks on Asian Americans should be deemed a national crisis. Now, mind you, these so-called attacks on Asian Americans are stemming all from last year. But the way that they're projecting it out into the media, you would think that this has been going on for the last 10 to 20 or more years. You know, the way that black people have been under attack for 10 to 20, 30, 40, 50, going into like a few more decades, hell, even centuries worth of years. But not once has our stuff been called a national crisis. But now, because of what happened last year with WOVID and all types of stuff like that. Now, mind you, let me keep you in mind that it was 45 who kicked off the whole Chinese flu or the Kung flu or all that stuff. That it kicked off with him. And now it's like you have these random attacks that come up and they keep trying to put it out there that it's black people doing it. But thanks to people like Sejihito, who's been like literally hammering on this issue for the last week or so, he's been showing that it's a very diverse crowd of people that's been attacking Asians, and rarely, if any of them, have been black. You might have a black one here and there, but not the way the media puts it out there. And that's one of the major reasons why we are talking about this, because there is a propaganda that is black people that's being very violent against the Asian community, when there has been proof historically and in current times that they have been attacking and brutally abusive with us, especially the women who go into these nail salons and all these other spaces that are Asian owned. I mean, I've talked about this in numerous examples, so I feel like I don't have to go into a whole diatribe about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this article that's coming out of Action News Toledo, Ohio, ABC 13. University of Toledo visiting assistant English professor and scholarly researcher Joey Kim has watched countless attacks on Asian Americans emerge over the last year. The history of xenophobia and anti-Asian sentiment is embedded in our history, said Professor Kim. According to advocacy group Stop Asian American Pacific Islander Hate, there have been over 3,000 incidents of attacks on Asian Americans since the start of the pandemic. So you're talking about last year, whenever this really kicked off, and they're saying it's 3,000. Now they throw out that number to make it seem like it's extremely high compared to us. Nah, they have a lot more to go through before they can even get on the level of comparison with us. But look at how fast the response to them as far as aid goes has been. Remember the video I just did about California approving a $1.4 million fund or whatever for the Asians out there in California. It's a very, very fast response. Opposed with us, it's a very slow, delayed response. Kim says the growing number of hate crimes and murders of Asian Americans should be seen as a countrywide emergency. This is an American issue. This is a civil rights issue. There you go. Hampering on to civil rights. We need to recognize these deaths as part of a national trauma and crisis. I'm trying to figure out how many deaths have there been. I've seen the attacks, but I haven't seen that many deaths. I'm not sitting here saying that there haven't been any, but I haven't heard any reports of any deaths. You know how when black people get pulled over and killed by these cops, those deaths are reported, and there are even some that are not reported. But I haven't seen any of theirs that have been reported. Kim believes COVID-19 opened the door for Asian discrimination here in the United States. She says when former President 45 referred to the virus as the Kung flu or the China virus, it pinned a target on the backs of those with Asian descent living here. Welcome to our world. Because black people are probably the most stereotyped people in this nation. I remember back when 9/11 happened, and when that happened, guess who was the target? Arabs and Muslims. And they had to deal with that for a long time, you know, being called terrorists and everything like that. And black people, we always get the stereotype of thugs, drug dealers, lazy, shiftless, welfare kings and queens, baby mamas, Pookie, Ray Ray, like the list goes on when it comes to the stereotypes we get. But it's funny because the nation tends to want to bandwagon off those stereotypes so they can get a come up. Go figure. It created this sense of people wanting to trace COVID-19 to something or somebody. How can this wave of violence, discrimination, and hate come to an end? Kim believes it can only come by speaking out. She says having voices be heard is the most powerful tool that can bring visibility and representation to all. Those of us who are suffering from these instances and microaggressions, we can actually report them online, said Kim. They received almost 3,000 reports nationally last year. Here in Toledo, the UT professor is using her job as a curriculum as an educator to shape the next generation. She says by understanding the hate of today, we can build a better future for tomorrow. I have a lot of hope for future generations, said Kim. Those who look like me, we are a part of this more diverse fabric that rapidly is changing. Professor Kim has published an article that was released this Friday that details the long history of oppression for Asian communities in the U.S. You're going to see a lot more of that going forward. I promise you that. You're going to see a lot of that going forward. Because they literally are trying their best to fall into a category that they've never been in before. But see, they're the model minority. They're not supposed to be there, according to them. Because they've been put into a position by PC, and now their position is starting to trickle away. I told people, and I'm going to tell y'all again, do not throw me into the category of people of color. That is one position I will not be putting myself into. I highly suggest that you don't put yourself into it as well. Some people may think that this commentary is going to come off some kind of way, and they can think what they want. I don't care. And that's the thing. Us as black people, we have too much other fish to fry to be caring about what everyone else got going on their plate. Our plate is full. We can't put anything else on there. We are full. We are stuffed. Let them handle that. Why don't they speak out about the stuff that they've done against us? Hell, why don't they talk about the stuff they've done against each other? You know, they like to talk about black on black crime all the time. Let's talk about this Asian on Asian crime. I talk about it a few times with them parlors. They don't want to talk about that, though. About the discrimination they do against themselves. Yes, I'm using their own talking points against them. That's what we have to get to. I actually talked about this on my Twitter account. I said we are at the grassroots level with this. We got to fight back against their propaganda that they're going to put onto us, because it's coming. As a matter of fact, it's not even coming. It's here. So you have to be prepared, because they are coming fully loaded, arsenal in tow. But that's really all I have to say about this. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, make sure you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below to receive notifications every time I upload a new video.